Hi, I'm Christina Ho. I play Betty on Morphers.
Hi, I'm Abraham Rodriguez, aka Avy Baby, aka Nate Silva, aka the Gold Ranger on Beast Morphers.
And follow Cosmic Patient. Oh! Hi, I'm Christina Ho. I play Betty on Beast Morphers.
Hi, I'm Abraham Rodriguez, aka Avy Baby, aka Nate Silva, aka the Gold Ranger on Beast Morphers.
And you should follow Cosmic Protector
on Patreon.
Hi, I'm Christina Ho, and I play Betty on Beast Morphers.
Hi, I'm Abraham Rodriguez, aka Avy Baby, aka the Gold Ranger. Oh, I already messed up my intro.
Hi, I'm Christina Ho, and I play Betty on Beast Morphers.
Hi, I'm Abraham Rodriguez, aka Avy Baby, aka Nate Silva, aka the Gold Ranger on Beast Morphers.
And you should follow Cosmic Protectors on Patreon!
Welcome to the Ranger Wrap-Up. We are back, all of us, a team, working together to fight crime, fight evil, whatever. I am Joe with the Illuminerdi, joined by everybody on our Saturday Power Ranger team. Welcome, Jezzer.
Hey.
Daniel.
Let's rock it.
The return, Corey.
Wow,
the return of Justin.
Yo.
And Toku Kid.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
The Tokes.
This is our Survivor Series team, quarantine team. We're going to be coming at you with a lot of Power Ranger stuff today. Now, the news has been kind of slow, but let's get right into it. We have not really, all of us haven't really seen each other really since this whole quarantine life has happened. This is my first time back on a Ranger wrap-up. How have you guys been doing with the quarantine life? I did have a lengthy conversation with Justin a couple days ago, and I saw Daniel not too long ago. But and Jezzer and I had a phone conference. But how have all you guys been doing?
Who wants to start off?
Let's start.
I'll go since mine hasn't really changed. I'm still working like normal, still night schedule. So pretty much the only thing that's different is I just see people wearing masks during the few hours I'm out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's been exactly the same for me.
You want to talk about what happened to you, Toku, or no?
Nah, not over that shit yet.
Okay. Maybe offline.
Maybe offline.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Justin?
Yeah, because I haven't really been on a stream in a while. So I guess not to go too much into my personal life per se, but like right now I am just staying home. I am just staying put. And trying to keep myself busy by like shooting a lot of little like quick video projects for myself on Instagram, and also I started a separate Twitch stream on my own account, twitch.tv/TishaKeysOn, where all I talk about are movies that I like to recommend on different platforms and streams. So outside of that, yeah, mostly just trying to keep sane is the best I could say it. You know?
Yeah. Corey?
No change, really. I'm still working for it. It's really slow. Paying patience. This telephone and this big stuff is driving a little easy. So I'm in the mood today.
All...
I think Corey's a robot.
I know. He Alpha 5.
The mustering cutting.
The audio is a little blacky.
Yeah.
But everybody else can hear everybody clearly?
I can.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened, Toku? You don't want I was gonna use the green screen later, and
I was about to drop it.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna have everything fall just because of that.
No. We'll figure it out. On my end, it's been pretty crazy. I do like logistic stuff for a grocery store, so we have to stay open and stay exposed to a bunch of these old people that can't seem to just stay inside. You know, it's
bored, remember? They're bored.
I know. Well, I mean, they're at risk, you know, and like you could just do all your shopping at once. and then just stay home because you could literally die if you're over like 60. Like you can't even handle the virus, you know.
Well, I mean, you could literally die if you're any age getting the virus, Jezzer.
Well,
So
well, I mean the survival rate for if you're under 50, it's pretty high. Unless you have
depends
it.
if you have any predisposed conditions,
Yeah,
anything like that. And if you're too young, you could also die very easily.
yeah. If you're a baby, definitely. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, and it's pretty hard. Like I've been hitting up a bunch of people, try to set up some interviews and stuff. It's just everybody's at home, so you'd think that'd be easy, but it gets pretty
No,
crazy.
no. A lot of people you're finding out now, like, they're like, hey, if before the virus hit and I wasn't going to answer your call, I'm definitely not going to answer your call now during the virus. Like, I just don't want to talk to you. And that's just how it's going to work. Like, people are shutting off from people, and then there are other people that are like home alone that need someone to talk to, but they don't know how to reach out. So it's like, if anyone watching, what I would suggest is reach out and talk to people that maybe you haven't spoken to in a while. Check up on them, especially if you don't see them posting on like social media or texting you or anything. Reach out to them, have a conversation, because sometimes that's exactly what they need. So I definitely suggest that.
Hey Joe, I mean, you've been sick. You've been sick recently. You doing okay?
yeah, actually, I actually did get really sick. Not even joking. I actually about a week ago. It was actually the night that that night, because Daniel was over at my house till like 6 a.m. like 2 weeks ago, and like
So
that
Daniel
next morning, I had no voice. I couldn't do anything. I was out, and like I felt terrible, and that lasted for about a week. Turns out I was like, dude, and jokingly that day before, I was wearing like a mask, being like, I don't want to get anybody sick, like it's a coronavirus, and like I legitimately got sick, and then I got a little worried that it was the coronavirus. However, I didn't have a lot of the same symptoms. Like I never had a fever. I did have a sore throat, but at the time I didn't have a cough. I do now, but it turns out I had an ear infection and laryngitis. So
Wow.
yeah,
Ugh.
it was bad. So either that or I did have the coronavirus and I kicked out like a champion. And I
Nah.
got an antibody, but I don't think that was the case.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, let's start talking about a little bit of Power Rangers. Let me see what I had in the docket.
No,
So,
I don't want to talk about Power Rangers today.
you don't
Actually,
want to talk about?
I don't think I want to talk about that today. I
Okay.
think I want to talk about WrestleMania. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about
I was like, what?
Let's see what we had on the docket. We had so what do you call it? Starting off, Legend of the White Dragon got funded. Their first milestone got funded, so that's pretty cool. So now they're going to do a mini series. So that's pretty cool. I mean, they lowered the. Remember back in the summer, there was like 500,000. They lowered it to 100,000 as far as what they needed. What do you guys think about that?
I got inside
played it.
information on Legend of the White Dragon, and we'll be dropping that next week. So stay tuned
Nice.
for that. I'm happy that all six of us are on this show because I feel like we bring something different to the world of Power Rangers. But I think that for me personally, I'm excited about all the fan films that come out, mainly because some of these fan films are better than the show itself. Legend of the White Dragon is one of those fan films that has that type of potential. Now, I understand that people, and Toku, you can probably talk about this more than I can, they're really burnt out on this fan film idea, or at least the crowdfunding fan film idea. But I feel that like if stuff is done artistically and well enough, then why not put it out there for more content for the fans to consume? One thing that I think we're seeing is that, especially in the quarantine, and especially with what's going on in the world right now, is that content is king. So why not put it in the creators' hands?
Mm-hmm. Toke?
Like how you mentioned, the fans, they're burned out. Some of it, I feel it's justified just because a ranger comes in, says, we'll make this film for you, the fans, bring the rangers together, and
The order!
certain
Oh wow!
projects never end up happening.
The
Or they
coronavirus.
get so far,
Oh, sorry.
so many updates. They get so far, they give so many updates. They keep saying we're gonna make it. We fund this. As soon as they get funding or get close to it, and they're gone. You never hear anything. You never anything like that. But
That's
just so you
happened
know that
before.
Oh yeah.
many times.
Well,
I think
the biggest
The
one
first
is.
major one was the MMPR fan film a long time
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
That everybody remembers,
Mhm.
with the Blue Ranger.
Oh, no
and
way,
Lord.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But did they ever get to make anything else, like an
No,
offshoot or
they
something else?
disappeared. They're gone.
No,
Dang,
straight
that
up.
sucks.
And they
Like,
even
well,
got Zed's voice actor to come back and do Zed's voice for the short that they
Mm.
did
No.
release. And the other one I know is Michael Copon
Oh,
from
that burnt out. Yeah.
that
The Ranger
type.
movie.
Yeah, the very unspecified Power Ranger fan film that he literally, that's the title of the Indiegogo, and he took what money he had and ran. That's the other one really for big.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But it's not, there's not a lot of evidence that states otherwise. And I heard from the order, and a lot of the issue with the order is like, a lot of it's like issues with SAG, I heard. They had issues with the SAG contracts for those, I think.
Corey can speak personally because Corey worked on the order.
Mm-hmm.
Corey, would you like to say a little bit about it? Oh, I just
I don't
see.
know anything.
I'm gonna translate for Corey. He said that fuck the order, and I'm sure
I don't think he said that.
he didn't say that.
No, I think that they're actually tapping into the feed and stopping him from speaking.
Yeah,
So-
there's stuff. Well, from what from the little conversation I had with a certain Yellow Ranger, she said that it's distribution problems. So I don't know.
Okay.
But
I mean,
Which
hey,
makes sense.
you know what, that could be possible because there's a lot of things that go into go ahead producing, creating, and putting out content.
I feel
And
like the distribution problem comes from not having a distributor, which I guess would be a distribution problem.
that sounds like a distribution problem.
or not have anything to distribute, no video or
Yeah.
anything to put out.
No,
Well,
I'm
if
not
there's,
actually.
if there's no product, what are you distributing? You
Yeah.
know?
Exactly. I think the order. I think actually it's a really cool concept. Maybe one of the better concepts that I've seen done in a very long time. And I like the marketing campaign behind it. I just do wish that there was more out there for it. I think the order is a pretty cool project. I actually think a lot of these projects are. I will say this though, back to what Justin was saying, the Michael Copon thing. Everybody knows. Oh well, I don't know if everybody knows this. I know you guys internally know this that there's certain Ranger actors that I'm just kind of whatever with, and I'll be honest with 100% honest with you guys. He's one of those guys. I will say this though, I don't ever plan on interviewing him just because of what the past stuff. But if I do, you best believe that's one question I am 1,000% asking. There's no reason not to.
I'm gonna set that interview up for you. I'm gonna hit him up because his cousin actually lives here.
No, please do so because I was explaining this. I was actually talking to the guys from the Morphin Network. I was on their show not too long ago, and we were talking very candidly about some experiences with Rangers. And I'll be honest with you, and I don't care if Michael Copon sees this. Fact is, I haven't had the greatest experiences with him, and he might not remember, but I just haven't. And me personally, I'm not going to hold that grudge against him necessarily, but at the same time, a lot of us now have went on to interview other actors outside of the Power Ranger realm and have been pretty successful at it. I feel that I'm at a point now where I can interview him or not. I really don't care. I don't need to interview him, but if I do, I know that now I'm a good enough journalist. I can ask him what people actually want to know about, and if he doesn't answer it, that's on him. I mean, at the end of the day, when you go and take people's money like that, you're committing to making a project for them. And I feel that if you're not going to do that, you should at the very least, explain why that project hasn't gotten done, or whatever the hangup may be. I'm not blaming him saying he stole the money, but I'm just saying that the fans that funded it deserve some type of explanation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just as bad as like in the video game world right now. I mean, still people are still talking about Anthem and how bad of a turnout that game was, and also all the things that you promised didn't happen until a year after the game is already out, where people thought, hey, you've abandoned the servers, and now they're like, oh, here's this thing that we told you we were going to do. Here's this thing. Well, it's too late. It's been a year. I've already either resold the game or it's somewhere in the back just collecting dust. Like, that's exactly how people are feeling about this, but it's different because they invested money and they didn't get a product back. And that's where it's like, okay, you've done a grave injustice to all these fans, these people that you, you depended on so you can get this. I mean, you're right. They deserve some level of explanation, or they deserve something, because they're investors. That's exactly what they are. They're not just people purchasing a product and getting a horrible return. So I agree. He needs to do something.
From what I've seen on like groups and everything, I feel like there's a lot of people that don't want Legend of the White Dragon to succeed, and that kind of like boggles. Like I don't understand why. It's like we've seen a lot. Like what we've seen from Bat in the Sun is they've made a lot of cool content and not have to crowdfund it or anything, because it's for their channel and stuff. So I think with something like this, something that they want to create like a full length thing about, like, because usually what the superhero beatdowns are like maybe like up at the most 7-8 minutes or whatever. This one they want to do a whole thing. It does cost money. I mean, and you're asking for some of these actors to come out and some of these actors to spend their time to help put this together. So when I see fans like say, "Oh, I don't want this shit. I fuck that shit. I don't want that shit. Like it's garbage. Like fuck JDF and all that." It's like, what are you guys talking about? It's actual content you guys want to see, or that you're gonna love to see, and you guys are like aching for more Power Ranger content. And like all I see on Power Ranger groups is just people talking about the same shit for the last 25 years. Like, oh, did you guys see this scene in this series? Like, yes, we've all seen it. This thing's been out for like 30 fucking years. Like, it's that's old news. Let's talk about some new shit. Welcome the new shit in, and then enjoy it, not fucking like shoot it down immediately, you know?
It's interesting how similar certain old school fan bases are, and it's not just relegated to Power Rangers, because you're seeing a lot of that in Star Wars, where if it's not the original trilogy, then fans are, oh well, I'm upset, I didn't like the way, but not even just Star Wars, it's also like pro wrestling, dude. Like,
oh yeah,
in pro wrestling, it's like when Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat were in there, we're giving it their all.
Who are these people that you're basing these characters off of?
Like, who are these people you talk to, Joe?
Like in like the last WrestleMania that just happened, they had this well-produced Boneyard match, and like modern wrestling fans like myself are like, dude, that's amazing. It can extend careers. But then you got these old school fans that are just kind of like, well, I like my oatmeal with the raisins and bananas and no milk. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those type of scenarios where these old school fans kind of like are so stuck in their ways. And I think Power Rangers is really no different. Like, how many people do you know, Corey, that are just like MMPR is like the best, right? I think most of us on here though would assume, or not even assume, but we know well enough that there have been better seasons that have better stories that have been told. But I feel that like once you kind of push the Power Ranger brand forward is when you're going to get a bigger audience. And I think that once you get stuck in something, that's when it never really grows. It's just for that fan base, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with you, definitely, especially right now, where the thing is, what's still boggling my mind is, just like Jezzer said, where is this hate coming from the quote-unquote Power Ranger Golden Child? Like, last time I checked, everyone is like, oh, JDF, and then there are people that have JDF fatigue, I understand, or Tommy fatigue, but they like JDF, right? So it's like, okay, so JDF says, hey, I'm going to do something where it's like it's going to be related to what we all love, what we all like, and here it is. And still there are people like, oh, it's going to fail. Like, why are you hoping that something new, something different, something interesting will fail? Why?
Well, here's the thing. Like, let's keep this in mind about what Legend of the White Dragon. It kind of comes off as this bizarre, like, for some people, it could come off as like a bizarre, like, ego trip project where he's like the ultimate superhero that takes elements of two of his other famous Ranger modes, and the other Rangers are begging for his help. And if you don't like him, that project comes off as a giant ego trip. If you don't, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, so like this is the project. I'm the greatest superhero ever, but I'm out because I'm really mad and sad right now. But the other Rangers are like, come on, come back. We need you. And for some people who don't like him, they just put that under a don't fucking need this project. And here's the thing, like, for my opinion on Legend of the White Dragon, I'm mostly intrigued because I'm kind of curious, like, all right, how are you going to do a thing that's legally similar but not legally exactly Power Rangers? You know? Because let's not forget, it's not really a Power Rangers project. I mean, it is, but it's not. Like, Hasbro won't say it is.
Mhm.
But, like, it has all the elements that remind you of Power Rangers, you know? And I think at the end of the day, like, I'm mostly intrigued because, like Jezzer said about Bat in the Sun, they have made entertaining content. The only thing I haven't seen them do yet is a straight up story.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think they showed me that they can do great action. Their action's really good. They
Great
can
action
show
scene.
great production values. They can show production value in their project. I haven't seen them tell a story yet because every Bat in the Sun fight scene I have is like a really cool fight, but there's no like scenes of people talking because all they're focusing on is how it looks and all the fights. So that's where I'm a little iffy about them, but I'm intrigued to see what the finished product will be, regardless.
Well, this is a question for Joe. Joe, at was it 2 Comic-Cons ago or Comic-Con ago, you spoke with Aaron. During your conversation with what did you like get off of him? Like, did you feel like he had everything under control or he knew what he was doing?
I think that Aaron brings the experience that you need for a project like this. I think that he's been limited by the budgetary restraints. I think the dude's resourceful as shit. I think that he can make a lot happen with what he's given. But I think now is his first opportunity to really tell, okay, like Justin was saying, you know, people know me for my action. People know me for some of these like mashup genre things I do, but they've never seen me tell a story. And this is now my opportunity to do that. I think personally, it's a challenge to him more so for him to do this. With that being said, though, I think that what they were asking for originally was a lot. I think that you could have done what he was trying to do with a way lesser budget. But I don't think he was necessarily looking at Legend of the White Dragon as like putting all this money into this one film. I think his dream was a little bit bigger in terms of like, okay, this is going to be seed money to expand us into a series. And I think now they've kind of sat back really, one word that we're having come up a lot in the times we live in is what is essential. I know you guys hear that buzz. I don't know what that is. That's not me though.
That was a washing machine.
But I think that when it comes down to what the essentials are, I think they are targeting the right budget to get what they need to make a good product.
It's Corey. No, your audio isn't working.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I understand where that it was a very high budget. I don't know if that's maybe Aaron thought that, oh, the Ranger fans are just going to come out and just fund it immediately. You know, he assumed, you know, there has to be at least 500,000 fans, and if each fan donates $1, we're golden, you know. So I mean, I understand where he's coming from with that.
Jezzer, I actually fully believe that was the case. I really do believe that Aaron thought, okay, we've had all these other videos that have proven to be very successful with millions of views. We have more clout than some of the other people who've created Ranger fan film projects or Ranger field projects. So I bet you, yes, he really felt like, oh, we got this in the bag. But the issue is, you know, and it's something that I brought up before, and I think even Toku has even said too back in the day was, yeah, but okay, if this was the first Ranger project, the first one, there was no order, there was no Michael Copon fuck up, there was no MMPR. If this was the first thing that came out,
oh, it would have got funded immediately.
100%. It would have absolutely gotten the $500,000. I might have contributed to that, you know, but when it came out way too late, and it just sounded like, yeah, like as a person who was involved with a crowdfunding film project that I'm still a producer
Lumpia.
on. Yeah. It's not a meeting with me when I have to talk about that movie, but we funded in 2013, and we're a feature-length film that doesn't have Ranger anything. We have like a small audience, but our funding was $100,000. That was our Kickstarter, and that took a while to accumulate because we also went to other crowdfunding sources to get more funding here and there. And so it's like, asking $500,000 is a lot. So you have to do a minimum of something like $100,000 where it seems realistic. And if you need to get more, you have to find other ways to get more. Part of the deal when you do these film crowdfunding things is that, like, it's always tricky because you have to promise a product that comes out in a realistic time that a lot of people apparently want to see. And the issue comes in the fact that, like, you're not only crowdfunding your film, you're also trying to get investors who go, oh, your crowdfunding project did really well. We will invest even more. So it's part of the campaign for the film to exist. What they did with $500,000, way too high. If they just asked for $100,000 that first time, and then they had other investors who go, oh, that Ranger thing did really well, they probably would have A, gotten the funding, and then B, had other people involved willing to throw more money at them for the project to exist for. But they had this idea that, like, oh, we can totally kill it with $500,000 off the bat. Clearly they didn't. And that's what's screwed about the first time.
Yeah, with the combo of like the past films and the high budget, that just flipped the everyone head is either scam, which it's not because Bad and the Sun has a good record, their whole YouTube channel, or they're in over their heads and they don't understand what they're doing, which is the opposite because fans don't know how hard it is to make a project like that.
No, true.
Too many people thinking they know how it's done, and too many people thinking that I've been burned once, twice, maybe 3 times, I'm done. But they don't realize this is a common thing for a lot of stuff that gets funded, that they don't happen.
Yeah. Well, I think this is going to happen. I think it's just going to take a little bit of time. And
maybe next year when the virus is gone.
Maybe. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, but right now, the cast, like, we're getting new news about the cast every, like, few days or something. You know, they're like, hey, here goes Leo Rush. You know, we knew that we had Jason Font. We've got King Batch. You know, like, all
that
these
surprised me.
King Batch.
I was like, what? But he's done some, like, physical stuff before. He works with some like fight choreographer, and he's done a bunch of stuff on his own. And it's like, oh, okay, all right. He knows how to throw a punch, fake a punch, take a punch. All right, maybe something could happen. Who knows? You know. So it was like, all right, cool.
But too much with King Batch. They took it as a joke. Like, are they serious?
People did, yeah. Like, then all of a sudden there was like a huge, massive amount of hate for him. Like, people, oh, you know, he's not funny anyway. He's not going to be able to do anything else. I hate him. And then. Yeah, then people are like, well, he was on the Babysitter movie on Netflix. They're like, it was directed by McG. That says a lot. You know, like, I was like, wow.
Yeah, man, what the hell?
Like, people were hating him. I was like, okay, well, this probably isn't good. But I'm like, I want to know the process as far as who and how they're picking these people. Like, you know,
well, stay tuned because we have something coming out on the Illuminerdi exclusively. We'll drop in next week about Legend of the White Dragon and about how it's all coming together. I can promise you one thing. It is definitely going to happen. And we are definitely going to have some involvement with it in some capacity. Stay tuned for that. But I'm excited.
Surprise right here.
I'm excited for it because not just because it's a funded project with a lot of people that I like. And like even Daniel said, this King Bash dude, give the guy a chance, man. If you know, we don't know how he's gonna be used. Leo Rush, same way. So, you know, I think it's an exciting project. I think it's an exciting time for people to explore their creativity. You know, one project that I want to talk about that is doing a lot of right by me is the Power Rangers Unworthy project. Like,
yes,
you know what? Like, I'm so proud of those guys and so happy for those guys that they're making extremely good content, but their marketing behind it is just as good. And I think that right now, that's something that, like, the Unworthy should be something spoken more about in the Power Ranger community. It's one of the positives that I think that are going in the community. Another one on a smaller scale is Ancient Warriors, which I think they're doing a good job too with what they're doing with all the stuff they have going on. I think that, like, if you look for it, there's some great stories out there that are expanding the universe that you guys want to jump onto. Support it. Just support it.
Mm-hmm. Were you guys able to check out the new Beast Morphers episode?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I was able to.
What do you guys think? No, like, I was surprised. So, like, I missed maybe last week's episode, but they did, like, kind of a little recap of what the mayor is doing and stuff. I like
Corey
that.
hates Beast Morphers, by the way.
Oh, what, Corey? Come on, what? What's wrong, Corey? What do you guys say about Beast Morphers?
He's lost another dimension.
Oh,
Yeah,
he is.
He's locked in with Evox.
He's locked in with the mayor.
Evox didn't like you said he liked Damon PR. He trapped in his own corner.
I've been reading a lot of comments on the show. There's people are saying, oh, the quality of it has been going down. I mean, it's
actually gotten better.
I feel like
a matter of story, it's not meant for them. They've gone less mature. They're aiming for a different age group.
Yeah. I think it's fun, and I like that it's with Ninja Steel, a lot of the episodes were one-offs. Like you watch an episode, it's not really connected to any of the other episodes. But here they're kind of building a little bit of continuity with all of it. Like, oh, here's we brainwashed Nate, and he inputted like a little backdoor in the firewall or something. Oh, we brought back this evil, not evil, but this like kind of corrupt scientist who made this thing. Like I like that they're connecting all of it together. Like, I think she was from first season or something. But I like that they're connecting it all together.
Baby AB Nate might be one of my favorite characters in Power Ranger history, I think.
You should get another Focus episode.
He's getting a lot of airtime. He's getting a lot of airtime out of like, I think he's getting more airtime than Devin, the Red Ranger. Like, he's getting a lot more stories.
How much story has he gotten that was just focused on him that he wasn't just a part of?
A lot of them. Like, it was a lot of episodes that they've been doing. Just Nate. There hasn't been a lot of Devin episodes.
Interesting. I mean, for this episode itself, very good. Like you said, they brought back the, I'll say, the opportunistic.
There you go, opportunistic.
Yeah, the opportunistic scientist. That, and she had to pretty much push her way to be trusted again. And that was interesting to see the team have to push and pull to figure out how they actually felt about her and having to depend on her in the end. And Nate having to be that person that's like, all right, let me take down himself to help the team. I do like the new Zord. I actually do. A lot of people, I've been looking at like little quick reviews and people are like, this is stupid. It's the worst thing. It's just something for the red one to ride now. And I'm like, why not? Why not? I mean, I'm sorry. Are you new here? Last time I checked, Power Rangers always has new stuff, new toys to sell. So, I mean, it's not like you didn't expect to see something coming up. So it was like, let it be. And just kind of know that it's going to be there no matter what. Figure out if you do like it, and if you do, figure out why, and if you don't, figure out why. And figure out that, you're going to have to watch it anyway.
I mean, it's a line that turns into a motorcycle. What's the issue? I think that's amazing.
No.
It's a line that turns into a giant motorcycle.
Is it a motorcycle?
It's a triple changer, actually.
It's a giant robot rides a giant motorcycle that's a giant lion. I don't see what the issue is.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't see
That's rad. That's amazing to me. As a guy who was a really big fan of Go Busters, the show that the footage came from, I actually really thought this was a decent use of the footage, of how they incorporated the Go Buster footage into the storyline. And they changed a good amount of it. There's this whole other thing that was like another major plot in the Go Buster episodes that they didn't even touch upon. But actually, this is one of those cases where, the adaptation process on this was pretty good. And I actually was shocked, like, oh, hey, that's actually a decent use of the Go Buster stuff. And then doing their own thing while they're doing it. Sorry about that.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I gotta say, they said some things that just kind of take you back when they were like, "Oh no, malware and virus protection, firewall," and I was like, "Are we in the 90s? What's right now?"
It still exists.
I know, but yeah, it definitely comes off as like, what's the internet thing I remember back in 2000?
Yes,
malware.
Malware.
Yes.
That's great. I thought
viruses.
I thought one moment they're gonna be like, "Oh no, guys, let's go ahead and get that Norton McAfee up. We'll stop them right now." Like, I'm like, dear God. Like, also, I mean, if you're trying to go ahead and plant a virus, everything most likely connects to some level of a Wi-Fi. Why didn't they just jump on and boom, get that taken care of? Like, why does it have to be a connection to this thing? Why does it have to have a physical connection to it? It could have been really quick and easy where they're just like, all right, let's link in, boom, and, take care of it, especially since there's no firewall anyway. But,
Well, we know. Did someone else jump in? We know that the Dr. K is going to be coming in soon. Like, I feel like they're really setting it up. They're setting this whole
Wait
grid.
a minute, Dr. K has not been confirmed. How dare you, Jezzer? You're not a real Power Ranger fan. Little troll.
But like they're setting it up with like how easily Grid Battle Force can be taken over by whatever Evox is doing. I think that's perfect. That's a perfect place to place Dr. K if she was actually confirmed to be in Beast Morphers. What do you guys think about
Be the
that?
one to reveal the mayor as Evox, for all we know.
Yeah. What? Oh yeah, she probably.
Right.
Was she like I can't remember in RPM? Was she the one that exposed the Vengeance the Vengeance?
She accidentally created Vengeance. That's what happened in RPM.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So I wouldn't be surprised if Vengeance, ties into Evox and his whole thing. That'd be
I
really
kind
cool.
of hope so because it's like that's an obvious tie-in, especially with like an alternate reality stuff. That'd be kind of fun to tie that in, especially because I know that they're filming New Zealand, and well, that actress lives in New Zealand, so she's available. She could probably go over.
Well, with all the interviews that we did with the Beast Morphers cast, a lot of them say, "Oh yeah, my favorite season is RPM." I'm gonna like start cutting those pieces out and put it together.
They also told that cast that they had to watch RPM.
Yeah. Oh, see, it's like, oh, you gotta do some research for it.
Well, there's a lot of RPM in Beast Morphers. I can see it. It's funny when I finally got around to finishing RPM and I just started like Go Busters. I was sitting there going like, it's a shame they didn't hold off on the RPM concept till Go Busters because this would have fit the Go Busters concept better with the RPM story they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's the story that Eddie came up with when he got the Power Ranger gig back then, and there was no Go Busters. But yeah, it's interesting. So I wouldn't mind them if they did the lot tie-in. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, it'd be really cool, really awesome. Well, I'm excited. I know that the hiatus is coming, so there's going to be a less Beast Morpher stuff going on for I think until when does hiatus end? Comes back August or something?
I don't know.
Wait, are you guys? I have a question talking about Beast Morphers real quick. Like, because I was at Target not too long ago, and I feel like when I try to look for my Lightning Collection action figures, and I know that Justin picked up the last Lord Draken in the United States, I think. When I look for my Lightning Collection, I did pick up Rocky and Blaze though. But when I go and look for them, I see nothing but shelf warmer Ravi, and I think to myself, I says, is there a reason why that nobody's buying the Beast Morpher action figures? That's sick. I love that. That's beautiful.
I don't know. Like the Blaze one looks pretty good. Like the head sculpt is.
So does Robbie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe the fact that like the reality is like Ravi is not necessarily a really. I would think Ravi's not really a popular character on that show. I think he's well liked enough, but I bet you he's probably the one in that wave where they made the most ones they made were Ravi because he's the current show, and everyone would be rather buying,
Draken looks dope though. I mean, come on, Draken looks awesome.
Because I remember the first wave, all I would see was nothing but Brennan's on the shelf.
Oh yeah.
Even now, sometimes I see Brennan's on a shelf every now and then.
It feels weird to say you see Brennan's on a shelf.
But it just is what it is. Like usually the newer seasons don't get a lot of love with these Legacy or Lightning Collection.
Yeah.
What did you say, Toku?
Oh, is Ravi the most common in the set?
I think he is. I have a theory he is. Yeah.
If he is, it makes sense that there'd be more of his figures in the boxes and just left on a shelf.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even when it was like the Red Ranger and Nate's character, I felt like those moved pretty good. Like I see Nate's character every now and then, and I would see Devin every now and then. But like even then, like both of those characters, I really don't see anymore, and I don't feel like they were necessarily shelf warmers the way that I see Ravi's character. I don't even know if it's necessarily Ravi as much as I think it's just Beast Morphers in general. But does that tell us that Beast Morphers is going to like, or maybe not just Beast Morphers, but like Jezzer was saying, more of those current seasons just aren't selling as well?
I think that's a fair thing to kind of bring up, and I think the reality is, like, at the end of the day, it's like I think Beast Morphers is doing fine for what it's worth, but it's also kind of clear that it's not necessarily like kind of making the waves that it probably needs to get other people excited about it, or give other people to give it a shot. I think that the audience who seems to dig it are the right age to dig it, but it's not necessarily breaking new ground for everyone else who hasn't watched Power Rangers in a while to give it a new shot. I think it's doing exactly what it needs to do, but it's also not doing enough to bring in new people. And so when you have like Ravi, who's a character who's on a show that's doing fine, but not as like really popular, then yeah, he's gonna warm shelves. That's just the truth.
Now that we bring up Ravi, we still do have our 1,000 subscriber giveaway going on, and we are going to be giving away the Ravi figure. That is just really ill-timed, I guess.
Oh my god!
Well, hey, you don't have to buy them at Target. You can just get them free from us.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute. I'll add into that. I'll put in the 2-pack of Leo and the Red Psycho Ranger.
Wait, are members of Illuminerdi allowed to enter too?
No.
Yeah, I remember when Toku was trying to take my Doggy Kruger figure.
I'll add into that, though. I will. The 1,000 subscriber, I'll put into that pot.
And Corey said he was going to drop something in it too. So as soon as we get all those put together.
Figures.
Wow.
Ooh, yeah.
It just keeps growing.
I volunteered his figures.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Toku?
I'm volunteering Corey's figures of Jason.
Okay, how many Jason figures? Corey, how many do you have?
I'm assuming he has 10.
He has a lot. He loves Jason.
Wait,
so
I do have another question for you guys, though. Just spitballing and thinking about it. What do you think it's going to take for Power Rangers to get back to what it was back when, like, they were blocking the freeway at Universal? Maybe not that crazy, but what do you think it's going to take for them to get back in the lexicon of pop culture currently?
A really good movie series and a 5-year push and all branding movement.
there you go. There you go. That's exactly it. A full-on push in that way. If they do a 5-year push of branding and they continue to just upscale as they do it, it's going to become amazing. That would be something I definitely suggest. Changing the production company, if Hasbro really wanted to, that would be interesting. Also, possibly creating a concurrent series that runs along with this one. Yes, I'm speaking of animated. I think that would be good. If they do an animated series that goes along with what's happening on the live action, that would be pretty good. Or just really an animated series that's a different story altogether. That would be similar to, just being honest, similar to Voltron.
So, Corey, can you hear me? I mean, you sound very computerized, like Evox is taking over your stream. But can you hear me?
So we have cyber villain Corey.
Well, let me ask you. I'm gonna go to Justin on this one. Justin, let me ask you this: if you were to pitch, or what was the point in Power Rangers where they should have really capitalized, and what would you have done in order to get the maximum exposure?
I feel like the 2017 movie, and it's also an issue of the movie itself. I'll be honest. I liked the movie fine, but it didn't blow up the waters the way it should have. And I feel like that's a year where that movie really should have blown up bigger than it was. And I feel like that's a combination where, because I always look at Transformers. When Transformers came out in 2007, it was the right time. It was the right time. The nostalgia for Transformers was growing every year. And they got like the biggest director to work on it with like Spielberg producing it, and they made a giant budgeted Transformers movie, and it came out at the right time at the right period. And then Transformers was able to, like Toku said, a strong movie series. Even if I hate those movies, it was popular. So they now made Hasbro change direction from G.I. Joe being their very popular franchise to Transformers being their main franchise.
Mm-hmm.
What the Power Rangers movie should have been, and this is probably the big reason why Saban finally let go the franchise, was that movie should have been the same for them. And that movie was coming out at the right time where it should have been, at the height of everyone remembering they loved Power Rangers, at the height of getting a new audience, and a combination of that movie not being as good as everyone wanted it to be, and a combination of the marketing not pushing more what made Power Rangers popular. And the fact that it was on a year where what season was that? Was that still that's on Dino Charge, right?
2017 was Ninja Steel.
Ninja Steel. Okay, so it wasn't a particularly strong year for the TV show. So it was like all these things that
wasn't it Dino
didn't
Charge?
quite work out.
Wasn't it Dino Charge?
No, it was Ninja
Dino
Steel.
Charge and Ninja Steel.
Was it 2017? Was 2017 Ninja Steel?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
and on top of that, the release date, it came out a week or a few days before Beauty and the Beast.
yeah,
Week.
so
Yeah.
it was trying to fight a Disney live action movie, and we all know that's just.
But wasn't that year crowded to begin with a bunch of premieres around that early spring date?
Yeah, but I feel like it would have fared better if it was releasing against Baby Boss, which was coming out the week after
Yep.
Beauty and the Beast.
Wasn't
It
that
would've
a surprise
better.
hit as well?
Yeah.
What?
Wasn't that a surprise hit with kids? As
Nah,
well?
so Beauty and the Beast took #1 at the box office 2 weeks in a row, even when Baby Boss and Power Rangers came out. So I think it would have been, I don't know if it would have beat Beauty and the Beast even in the second week, but it would have done better had it released against Baby Boss than it did against Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Personally. Now,
So, yeah.
I think, me personally, I feel that, like, I've never seen Power Rangers at its height. I've never seen hype for Power Rangers in a long time than I did in the 2017 movie. With that being said, though, I've also never seen crowds form the way they did, besides when Power Rangers was hot in like 92, 93, like they did for Shattered Grid. And I think that if they would have expanded on the market of Shattered Grid, say they have, and this goes back to what Daniel was saying, is that they had the kids show, or the show that everybody knows, but if they started the Lord Draken, the coinless kind of universe world in Power Rangers for a more mature audience, I honestly think right now we'd be talking a different game in Power Rangers altogether.
Yeah.
Go, Justin.
I think, you know what? Here's a great point. Here's a great proof of that point, Joe. The Shattered Grid trailer that dropped during WonderCon that year. The only thing anyone wanted to talk to me about that weekend was, what was that?
Yeah.
And that should have led into a mini-series, or should have led into an hour special, because that thing blew up big. And everyone who knew me is like, oh, Justin likes Power Rangers. Only thing they want to talk to me about was, what was that Shattered Grid thing? What was that Shattered Grid thing? What was that thing with Tommy? What's this? Why do you look like this?
Every
Why
time
do you look
I
like
see it, I
this?
get jealous of it.
I do. I do.
I'm a little rubbing it in your face. Sorry about that.
Right?
But
That's what she said.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, but I couldn't agree more. I really do think that there's a huge missed opportunity by them not taking a leap of faith with a Kyle Higgins and Jason David Frank ran coinless spinoff. Because look, man, they already had the costumes from Anarchy. They were self-funding a lot of that stuff. But just with the push behind with a production company would have given it that much more. And I honestly do think, man, they would have brought back some of the older Rangers. This would have been what we've always wanted. This would have been the Order and Legend of the White Dragon all mixed into one, except made available to the mass public. Toku, what are your thoughts?
I think that never would have happened with Saban Brand. I think that was just a pipe dream, because we've known and time again, if they can save money, they will. If the push doesn't even give an inch of a little inkling of, we're going to make 4 times the amount of money we're going to get back from putting in, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And if any sense of self-doubt comes from the fans, they drop it like nothing. The exception being Hyperforce, but that ran its course and it died off right after.
That is true.
It's one of those things where the fans think it could happen, and it should have happened, and it could have worked, but the brand behind it wasn't able to push it, or didn't want to push it, because they didn't have the belief in the product that we do. Which do now, especially during this time where they can rework everything.
So I heard just a bit of news here, and I can't go too deep into this, mainly because I promised I wouldn't. But I will say this: I know a lot of people have been giving Hasbro a lot of slack on how they're handling Power Rangers. Toy line wise, I think coming what's going to be coming out soon, people are going to be very surprised about how much they're doubling down on Power Rangers.
I don't doubt it.
You wait. Just you wait.
Well, didn't we all say this when Hasbro took over? After the next transition season is when the big push is coming.
Look,
I think
it makes sense. Going back to dinosaurs makes sense. But I mean, they're going to do a lot with Mighty Morphin for sure. But they're going to be doing a big push for some action figures and some toy lines that are coming their way. Especially Zords. Just wait till they do Zords.
Ooh, with the Lightning Collection Zords.
I don't know if that's what it's going to be called, but just you wait. Just you wait. I almost will guarantee you that that's going to be a high collector's market type of thing.
Oh.
Can we talk about the possibility of Power Morphicon still happening or not happening?
When is it scheduled still? Where
it's Labor Day. Labor Day.
I think Scott Zillner jumped the gun when he said that we're still committed to having Power Morphicon run in September. Look, we don't know. I'll be honest with you guys. We live in a different world than we did a week ago, which we did a week before that. I don't think right now. I don't think anything's a for sure thing. I think that he can say. I think anybody can say Morphicon's going to happen in September, and I truly hope it does. But with that being said, who knows? Who knows? Who knows if people are even going to have enough money to come out here in September to come to Power Morphicon? Who knows if vendors are still going to show up to Power Morphicon because they've been losing so much money during this pandemic. I think there's a lot more to consider than just getting people together at a convention center. There's a lot more to consider with this going forward. Our status quo, which we lived before this, is completely changed. And I think we still don't know what that means yet. And I think it's going to be very early for us to say it's happening or it's not happening. But I truly do hope it happens. But I just don't know. I just don't know what's happening in the world right now, guys.
Yeah, well, Comic-Con's still up in the air, right? Like
I think they're getting close. I think they're getting closer to saying that's not happening.
Yeah.
I think they won't cancel it themselves until the city forces them to.
Yeah, that's definitely what they're waiting for.
Yeah, that's what happened, I think, to Seattle, the Emerald City Comic Con. That's the reason why they didn't cancel right away.
Did they get full refunds to fans, though, because they were forced to shut down by the state?
I'm not sure. I think so. But yeah, I think San Diego, it's a thing. Now, this is the wild thing for me. I realize, I know it's with San Diego possibly doing that. I mean, it only makes sense. And I don't know when, like Joe says, we're in a different time now. And so it's like, I don't know when we as a society will be comfortable going back out for big events. Even something as even though Morphicon isn't as huge as Comic-Con, it's still pretty big. If you guys remember, the last one, where, huge amount of people waiting in line to get in. I don't know we as a society will be ready even in September to get that going again. And also let's keep in mind, what will be ready for them? What will be ready for Hasbro to promote? Are they even filming the show? Or do they even have what's going on with the Real Soldier adaptation? I don't know.
I can say one thing right now. I think the casting process has been put on hold. I know that. I know that officially.
Okay, that makes sense because how would they proceed right now? Listen, I love Morphicon too. I was looking forward to seeing everyone again. I was looking forward to doing whatever we were going to end up doing as a group again. I had friends that I knew that were going to be out of the state and country that I was looking forward to meeting for the first time or properly talking. But I also want everyone to feel comfortable being there. And I don't think we'll be ready in September.
If Morphicon does happen, do we want to do an Illuminerdi Power Ranger panel? I'm assuming we're going to want to get our programming together. But I mean, because honestly, I was even thinking about this as we go forward, because Justin and I had a pretty good conversation just about the state of where we're at. I don't mean physical state in California. I just mean the state of where everybody's mindset's at and what can we do for a mass community. And one thing that kind of struck me was that man, there's so many vendors that I enjoy seeing, so many artists that I enjoy seeing that go to these conventions that really rely on doing convention work, and now that's kind of taken from them. Well, how do we do something to showcase that? So there's some ideas I've been kind of cooking around, but obviously when Morphicon comes back around, I'm assuming we definitely want to do an Illuminerdi panel, yeah?
Of course.
Yeah.
Definitely. I gotta do the "We Told You So" panel.
Yeah.
Jezzer did that by himself. I'm not being part of that shit.
Come on,
Oh
Toku.
no! Sorry, no, Toku. You're the one. You're the only one in that panel.
Yeah, you're moderator, man.
No. It's just you. None of us are going to be there. It's just going
you,
to be
actually,
Toku.
yeah. And we're
And
gonna
you
write
have
a
to read
script
this.
for you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to write a script, and it's just going to be Toku on stage by himself. That's it. All of us are going to be like, "You got this," and peace out. So.
Can't wait for it. It's going to be amazing. People are going to love it.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. Like I said, like it's wild times. And the idea that I'm not going to Comic-Con, to have the night at WonderCon this weekend is weird to me. But
yeah.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm also like, hey, I'd rather us be safe and good. And I look forward to going big next year when all those things come back. You know.
Right now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys think that conventions in general, because I mean, we got to a point where there was an overabundance of conventions. You can go to like 2 conventions every week if you wanted to out here in Southern California. But now, with people being able to spend less money, people being able to have less of a booth space because they can't afford it, conventions just simply don't have the money to put them on. Do you think now we go back to what it was before the convention boom, where it's like you get a convention every so often, or maybe you get these tentpole conventions like a Comic-Con, a WonderCon, maybe a Morphicon, and like the smaller ones just kind of go away now?
I think that's a fair theory. You know, like I think here's the at the end, WonderCon, Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, Emerald City Comic-Con, all these, you know, the known ones for the last decades or so, they're gonna do fine. They're gonna come back, and I think they're gonna come back stronger than before when everyone's ready to go. But like smaller shows, like you're saying, the ones that just kind of, hey, I didn't even know that was a convention until it came out. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think those are gonna come around anymore. I think those are probably gonna start dying out. I agree.
Yeah.
I think like a Gallifrey 1 or Morphicon, those will do good because those are we're gonna still want those shows. We're gonna still want our Doctor Who conventions. We're gonna still want our Power Ranger conventions. But small conventions that exist out of nowhere, I don't know. They probably won't because they were just capitalizing on the other ones. And if everyone's too afraid to go to these smaller ones, but they want to wait up and feel ready for the big ones, I think that's going to be the realistic answer. Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. And then also we are getting a few things that are happening that's kind of interesting. Right now, I think they're starting a virtual Comic-Con Expo or something like that. I know that's something that's happening, and a lot of people are getting excited for it. And so with that, as that starts to build, I wonder if a lot of people are going to be like, well, hey, this is the way to go for some of their stuff. I mean, you could still be able to connect with vendors digitally and go ahead and purchase something from them. You'll get it mailed over to you, sent through Amazon, whatever it may be. So people are like, well, okay, great. Because, I mean, let's be honest, most cons are just giant swap meets that happen to have a stage where one person may talk for a little bit, and then you go back to looking at all the stuff that you can buy. So with that being the case, you still have to have big acts for the stage and the conversations that need to be had and interviews. That can be simply quick, simple, and easy filmed and shot, and then everything else can be what it is. So
I was thinking about that.
It's possible.
I was thinking about that with vendors, like for us to support vendors. What if we did like a QVC style show with a different, like highlighting a different vendor, and like just be like, oh my God, there's 4 left. We can get it now. You know what I mean? Like, what if we did that? You know what I mean? Like,
it's a void jacket now. Listen,
there's only 4 left. It's made from the premium plastic of all the plastics.
Wait, are you saying there's only 4 left? You know, if you call right now,
like
buy one get one free.
you buy it right now. We'll throw in Justin's glasses. It's amazing.
Another, honestly, no joking, thinking of is like getting, because Artist Alley is a big deal, but we also have these masks now. But what if we get artists to draw on these masks and we start auctioning those off? Because that's a way that Artist Alley kind of works. You kind of show your geek with the stuff that you have to wear now.
Yeah.
Hey, can you guys?
Oh, there we go. It's a little bit better.
It's a bit better.
What'd you do?
I'm on my phone now.
Yeah,
okay.
That's way better.
Okay.
Perfect.
Welcome back, Corey.
After what, like 40 minutes?
I know. It was just Corey's screen just all frozen and shit. And robot voices coming out.
Right.
Whoops. But yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I think definitely masks are gonna be a normal thing. The first few months after this whole thing goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like my sister, she's the one making. She's been making masks for me and my family, and she made like a Lakers mask for her and
That's
her
dope.
and her husband, and they went and like he went shopping with the Lakers mask, and immediately everyone was like, 6 feet, of course, but they were like, "Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that?"
Yeah.
And
My
so
mom,
already,
my
my
mom made
sister,
a Frozen one.
oh, that's nice.
I'd like a Laker one though. Or like imagine if they make like just the bottom half of the Power
I
Ranger
was kind
mask.
of thinking that
I
that would be kind of hilarious.
I think someone somewhere has already
Someone
had
wants to figure that, right?
That's,
That's got to be the
someone
case.
has,
a given.
someone has to do it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good place to end the show right now.
As Corey
Okay.
just back, as Corey gets his audio back, you're gonna end the show. At least, wait a
Hold on,
minute. We're not ending
Hold on,
there. We're
hold
not
on.
ending there. We got more to talk about. What about this Ninja Turtle crossover that you've been
Oh
gushing?
yeah, have you guys read this shit?
I'm
This shit is
behind.
dope.
I'm behind on the comic.
Corey,
I'm
you
on-
read it, right?
Jesus.
That's a
Well,
no.
well, I read the Morph, and I mean, it doesn't. It's not like. I mean,
I'll be right
you're
back.
not. You know,
It's not what?
It's not
Listen-
for you.
it's fine. I'm listening to the Boom Room on the Ranger Danger, and I'm listening to how geez, what's his Ryan, how he wrote it. I mean, like he put his all into it, but there are certain things that he couldn't do, and then you can see it in the book.
Like
Things
what's
that he
one example?
about how the turtles morphed and like how they got their powers. Like they skipped right over it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Turn
That's
the
true.
page and it's just Power Rangers all of a sudden. It's just like
Yeah.
how
I like.
how
I remember.
Come on now.
I think I was talking to you, Corey, when I first bought the comic, and I was like, "Who the hell is that guy?"
oh yeah,
Remember?
that's Tom.
Yeah, it's Tommy. I was like, "Oh shit, Tommy's in the Foot Ninja." It's fucking dope. Like the storyline is good. I mean, it's not any better than like. Do you remember when Batman and the Ninja Turtles cross over? I think it's
Yeah.
better than that. I think it
Crossover.
I think
Yeah.
that the interactions between like certain Rangers and Turtles is pretty cool. Like who was it? Billy and Donnie. That only made sense that they'd be paired up together. And
I like how Donnie's trying to impress Billy. Like, here's Metalhead. Here's this thing.
Uh-huh.
How do you guys like that? Am I good
Yeah.
enough in your eyes?
And they never really explain like how they knew of each other's existence. I guess that's something I really
It's like
wanted
anything like in Power Rangers and Toku ever. They exist when they do, and they don't when they don't.
Right.
to. I guess.
Kamen Rider Sentai aren't in the same universe until Kamen Rider Sentai have to team up.
Okay.
So-
All right, fine. Yeah, that makes
Mhm.
sense. I like a lot of the character design stuff that they did, like the Shredder Green Ranger. That was pretty dope.
That was cool.
Mm.
Yeah. I like
It's a
the
shame we didn't have like White Tiger Tommy just as in the background, so we can get what's his name? He plays cricket. He's got a cricket bat.
Casey Jones.
Casey Jones is the White
Yeah.
Ranger.
Cricket. Come on, Jess. You know the line. Do it.
Cricket. No one knows how to play cricket. You gotta know what a crumpet is to understand cricket.
Thank you.
Fucking great ass fucking movie. It's the
Thank
30
you, dude.
years. It's the like, and they even added some
The
like-
cricket line.
I don't know if did they add cricket in it, but they added some lines in the story.
Cricket,
Yeah.
com-
It's pretty cool. I wish that I do wish like they explained how they fit into the suits or how the suits are created, how they decided which color was gonna be who,
Yeah,
But-
he goes all that in the in the podcast, in the detail in the
Yeah.
Any
I
else
do-
to talk about how they're discussing possibly changing the colors to match their bandanas, but they got to get into how does that make sense too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that they skipped over. My fear is that the fifth one is going to be like because at the end of each issue, like they had like oh here's the big surprise, here's the big reveal of a certain thing. I feel like at the end of the fifth one we're not really it's just gonna fizzle out. That's my issue with the fifth one.
Maybe it's gonna be Splinter taking one of the Morphers and becoming a Ranger real quick.
Maybe. I mean, I still really I like that they put them together because I mean, when they did Power Rangers in Space and Ninja Turtles, I was like, oh god, like that. Those were not my Ninja Turtles. I know at the time
Wow.
they were considered canon because they were still
canon.
within the little subway thing. But
The movies, yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
I can't believe you're saying that Venus de Milo is not one of your Ninja Turtles, Jezzer. How dare
dude,
you.
like, go back and watch that series, Joe, and then you come back.
Yes.
No,
You
go
know
back
what? I
and
don't
watch
have to
that
watch
series
the
and come back.
series. I don't have to watch the series, Jezzer. I have to watch the crossover episode they had with the Power Rangers. And I said to myself then, she deserves to be canon. And you horrible man.
No. There is a female turtle now in the comics, and she's dope as fuck.
He's a foot
There is-
ninja who got blood transplanted, right?
Yeah, she's
Yeah, blood
awesome.
transfusion.
Yeah, just the story that they had. Oh, Splinter shipped her off to China, and I don't know. Like, come on, really?
Yeah, because they had to keep them away from these young boys and, all their hormones and everything. I'm not having some weirdo situation. I'm going to ship her off. Then I'll bring her back when they're old enough to be able to control themselves.
Or the
That's
fact that they had to they highlighted like, oh, you guys really aren't brothers. Like, you really aren't brothers. So it kind of just like defeats the whole. Oh, so the
they're all
past,
different
but.
kinds of turtles, man. Of course they're
Oh,
not
so they
brothers.
can justify the idea that maybe any of them could date Venus de Milo, so it's not weird.
They're adopted, it's
Oh, it's
Yeah.
like Barry Allen and Iris in the Flash TV show. They're siblings, but not really.
I forgot they were siblings.
Weird again.
well, yeah.
They're not really siblings. He's adopted.
They were grown
so
up
they
as
didn't
brother
even.
and sister, and they
Yeah,
got
they-
married.
He's a guardian. It was his
Wait,
guardian.
are you guys with the Power Ranger comics now?
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
super behind on all Power Ranger comics.
Yeah.
That's kind of
I
bumming me
read
out.
them every time they come out.
Yeah, I was really good for a while, and then I think I just fell behind bad. So
Now-
I have time to catch up now.
Yeah.
With the Ranger comics, are they still as good as everyone's come to know them to be?
There's
I
a lot
would-
more character moments thanks to Ryan.
I mean, after
which I'm really
Shall
glad for.
it's like a plateaued a bit, but you could tell they're kind of setting up for like a coinless universe comic series.
I honestly think that that's going to be the next thing. I think that we're going to get that, the coinless universe. I think that Mighty Morphin's going to restart the numbering, and the coinless world is what we're going to get.
Yeah, there's not going to be the season 3 tie-in story arc.
Oh, what?
I
No
think Ryan sees
Ninja?
this on Ranger Danger.
No nin-
There's something,
No
something
Alien
you have to-
Rangers?
Oh my
What is
god,
Ranger
come on.
Danger?
Oh, no.
What were you saying about Ranger Danger?
Because I think Corey listens too. On Ranger Danger, Ryan was talking about the thing after this. If he's still on it and it still goes the way they plan, it's something big.
Yeah.
The way they transition out of this into whatever new adventure they're going into.
Well, I think it's going to be the coinless because it's not going to affect continuity as much as like this would.
Here's
Well-
about continuity.
Currently in the comic right now.
Ryan Parrott does. Like he was. I remember him telling me that like certain issues take place between certain episodes.
Yeah.
It's
After he messed up, he paid so much attention to detail that you write yourself and say like, oh, I follow this, and I got to keep following it because I wrote myself into that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
they. Go ahead,
the-
Corey.
The thing is, I don't understand why they made it canon with the TV show if it takes place. Like, the comic started in 2017. Like, I don't understand why they made it canon to the TV show and they could have made it their own thing. Like, they wrote themselves into that box when they didn't have to.
So where do you think they should have started off?
Me?
Well, they could have still been Mighty Morphin. They could have still been in high school, but they could have just told their own story without
Same universe, but it ended up a
related
different
to
way.
the TV show at all, you know?
I actually enjoy the way they're doing it because they add a little bit on and answer some questions that clearly went unanswered because they were sometimes too complex of an idea for them to really address for us as kids. So now we're getting those answers. Like right now, there's a storyline concerning the canisters that they put the villains in. And it's kind of asking not really about the autonomy, but the banality of evil. Like, it's like, hey, are the Rangers or the whole kind of Ranger system, is it corrupted? Is it wrong for putting these people in these canisters? Because we got to see what Rita went through as far as being in a canister, and that was a tough story, man.
Oh, it's
The
terrible.
torture,
when she
torture that she went through, it's a horrible bit of torture that she goes through. And you're like, wait a minute. This is a system that's created by what we're supposed to be considered the good guys?
Well, no, that
This
was
is
just,
Out of sight, out of mind.
Eltar.
no, but see, that's the thing, and that's why they're addressing it that way.
Yeah. What was that, Corey?
That was the Eltar government. That was their thing. It wasn't necessarily Zordon himself doing that.
So what
Okay,
you're saying is
so but
power.
So thank you, politician of Eltar, for knowing so much about the geopolitical climate of Eltar. You're
he's
able
like,
to
all right, listen, you don't understand.
we're dealing with in the geopolitical climate of Eltar. Thank you, Corey.
He's like, I'll tell you right now, it's the 1%. It's the 1% that's making the problem, and what we need to do.
I was gonna say right now with the comics, we're not gonna get the final issue, are we? Because they've been stopped altogether, right, from release.
I mean, we will when all this crap is over.
See,
They
that
might do a digital version still.
No,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think they stop releases of all new issues of comics. Like we're not gonna get that till undisclosed time.
Oh damn.
You know what? I'll be honest with you guys. It's been such a long time since I've done one of these shows, and it's like it's freeing to just and now I know why Justin started his own Twitch stream. It's really kind of fun just to be yourself, because I feel like doing these kind of shows, or this show with you guys, my friends, it's my only time I really get to be who I am and be me. You know what I mean? It's such a freeing experience just talking about the stuff that you like and just having a conversation, because we all know as people that are on the show, we got bullet points of what we're kind of going to talk about, but just how these conversations kind of like
change.
Yeah, it gets my fandom like mind kind of going, be like, oh yeah, this is cool, or never saw this from this point of view. Like I'm excited about that, and like I think that it's fun, like still providing content to people that can kind of like just kind of forget about the shit that's going on in the world and be like, all right, cool, we're Power Ranger fans, you know what I mean? And I don't have to be ashamed about it. Like I don't care. Like this is like so I get to be me.
Free.
So I was talking to Justin earlier this week, and we were just talking about Cosmic Protector stuff, and he said that like, because I was like, because Corey missed the phone call. Toku was on the phone call with me. We had a phone call about story stuff that we're doing for Cosmic Protectors, and I was talking to Justin about it, and he was like, well, I have an idea for a character. We'll see how the story goes. And I'm not gonna lie, man, you've intrigued me, and I'm not gonna push you to tell me what the character was. But you piqued my interest, because I was talking to Daniel. We got to talk off screen too, because I think I know a fun way to mess around with the storyline you wanted to tell too. I think there's a fun that we can do. But like, and then Corey's ass was just asleep. Like texted us the next day. I was asleep, guys.
I worked the next morning, man. I was out.
I will say, to add like a little extra hint of the thing I'm talking about, like because you're like the fun thing about Cosmic Protectors, you're just like you're gonna have fun cherry picking different characters, different Toku characters. So I will say it's not a character; it's 3 characters.
Nice.
It's a team that's a Showa era group of characters that's available on the Toei Tokusatsu channel. So there's like a couple that people can probably see.
Is that the emo one with the
about.
hair? Is that the emo ranger with the hair?
Nope.
Wait. I want to talk about. I want to lean into this a little bit, because you and I talked about this also. Is that the Toei channel, like all this stuff, like Shout Factory now too? There's a lot of stuff that if you're a Tokusatsu fan, there's a lot of stuff for you now.
It's wild. No, it's wild. I think like my favorite thing to do when I kind of get my day going, I need to kind of like do some work, and I just need something in the background, is turn on the Tokusatsu channel on Pluto TV. And just like, oh, what's on right now? And like all of a sudden Sentai's on, or Kamen Rider, or Ultraman. And I'm like, great. And I just kind of like the fact that I have that for free, the fact that I have the Toei Tokusatsu channel. That's like all the first episodes are subtitled, and it's my choice. And Ultraman is relatively now available legally in so many ways. This is wild.
I got Shout Factory on my TV like whenever my PS4 is off, and like Sundays it's Super Sentai Sundays, and they're just like going in order, showing awesome. All the I was like, damn, this is fucking awesome.
And it's kind of cool. It's cool because I think the thing about the Tokusatsu channel, and I think what's really good about the channel, is that it's giving folks a chance to like just, hey, you know what, just watch a show in the middle of it. That's how we used to watch TV back in the day, folks. Just like a show just was on, and you're like, okay, what's on. And if you're into it, maybe you'll watch more, or maybe you'll go to the back and start from the beginning. You don't really need to see all the way through. You can just see if you like it, and if you like it, then go back to the beginning.
What did you say, Tope?
So weird. You guys didn't be able to like go on your phone and just watch the show from the start?
Because I'm older than you, Toku, and you have to understand that, and respect your elders. So respect your senpai. All right. Senpai. But no,
I like it.
But it's cool. I think this is a neat. Like right now, it's just choices that we didn't have that are now officially legal, and it's kind of amazing to me, and kind of coming at the right time. Weirdly enough, it's nice that like Kamen Rider came. The Tokusatsu channel came literally the week after the announcement of all of this, and it's really nice for me to just go. You know what I need right now? I need to see a karate bugman kick the living fuck out of some evil Nazi monsters. That's real nice.
Isn't it? It is damn refreshing. I'm not gonna lie. So I was watching some Loopat maybe like a week ago, and I think I flew through like 10 episodes. Like I'm almost done now. I think I only have 10 left.
Do you like it?
Honestly, I do like it. Like I do like it. I think it's a fun series, and I also think that it's a different gimmick, which I kind of appreciate. One thing I do like about Sentai is that there's no step and repeats. Like if they're gonna go, next season is going to be something completely different, even though some themes might feel the same. But I like how they tie it in. I also like straight up the emotional factor that they give into the shows. I think we're starting to see that now a little bit in the Americanized Power Rangers with Beast Morphers, with Nate, with Nate's whole journey. But I honestly think that that's been something that's been lacking for a very long time. Last time I believe they tried to do something like that was Dino Charge, but that only lasted half the season because that was Tyler finding his dad, right?
Yeah.
Once you got that, that was pretty much over with. Ninja Steel, you don't have that at all. Like I almost forgot that Brody was like taken as a child. Like I completely forgot about that. Like I vaguely so I almost wish that they could adapt more of the storytelling that they're doing in the Sentai. Maybe not one for one, because I think the Japanese storytelling is a lot different. It's just like Japanese wrestling. It's a lot different. But I think that there is a way to adapt it. Or I think that one thing America should do and learn from the Japanese is just take a risk on it. Just take a risk on something off the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Risk. America don't believe in risk.
But it's what holds a lot of properties back.
Unless it involves money. That's why we're in the situation we are now.
Here's the thing. Okay, and here's the thing. Power Rangers, I think Hasbro has to take that risk then. Because we're at a point where it's like, and I think me and Joe have talked about this quite a bit, even before Beast Morphers started, is that like we theorize, and it's proven the fact, Beast Morphers was, when Hasbro took on Beast Morphers, they were basically going, listen, we're just going to do the show you guys always did it. This is the transition show. And the show was run still by Chip, and it was going to be run the same way. And that's why I'm really intrigued by whatever the Real Soldier show is going to be, whatever the Real Soldier adaptation is going to be. Could it be more Hasbro trying new things? Could it be less? I don't know. I would hope that they're going to give it a risk and try more things out, because it needs it.
So you're saying we shouldn't consider Beast Morphers part of the Hasbro lineage, or we should still post Saban?
I would say it's the beginning of the Hasbro lineage, but it's kind of like what you call it, Wild Force.
Yeah,
it's just like Wild Force.
Or
people forgot that Wild Force was the first official Disney season, but it was still on Fox, and it was still produced over here in California. Then after that, it was a Ninja Storm, and everything changed because they moved the country, moved location. It looks different, doesn't look like a Saban show, and right away. But at the same time, like people don't know that Wild Force, or people forgot that Wild Force was technically the first real Disney era show, more or less. So yeah, I feel like Beast Morphers is probably more closely to Hasbro than Saban, but it's still that weird in between show. Whereas whatever Real Soldier is going to end up, the Real Soldier adaptation, and I'm hoping it's Dino Night, right? It's got to be Dino Night, right? I mean, that's just
no.
Oh.
It's gonna be
it's
Triassic Night or something. Watch.
Oh God, Power Ranger Triassic Night.
Yeah, I like
Dino
Triassic.
Night. Dino Night.
Give it a weird title and just call the Rangers something else entirely. Give it a basic
Power
name.
Rangers.
Some big rumblings that Justin is kind of right in this fact that things are going to change and change pretty dramatically. I'm hearing, and this is just a rumor right now, and I'll get more information on it, and then we can turn that into a story. But I'm hearing that that the next season isn't going to be shot in New Zealand. It's actually going to be shot in Canada.
Whoa.
So there's
Toronto.
well, I'm hearing that it's going to be Vancouver.
Vancouver. Oh yeah, Vancouver.
So there's a definite possibility that the production could be changing as well.
Wow.
And it's something I'm tracking to keep an eye on. But I'm just hearing the rumors and the rumblings right now. But if you look at what's been happening, they shut down a part of the Power Ranger production in New Zealand currently, or even before the pandemic started. So it's a definite possibility this can be moving to Canada.
I said something about this before, and I was like, it would be a great move for them to be able to do that. To go over there to Canada. As far as production teams in Canada, they are hungry for new work, and they like to change things from the way they looked or were viewed at before. I mean, if you look at Canada's production, you go back to like the sci-fi shows that are produced in Canada by Canadian production teams, and you're like, oh shoot, these shows do look a little bit better than what we usually expected from sci-fi. And it did set the bar and made sci-fi work harder, make them actually put out shows that were good in every way. Magicians isn't something that should be taken for granted. It's an amazing show, you know? And it's like, when you think about it, you're like, wait, and this is a sci-fi show? Like, this stuff is something that can change. And that's what I would hope and look forward to seeing as far as a change with Power Rangers.
Ooh, are they going to be part of the next Arrowverse crossover?
Nah, I mean, they can still people maybe.
It would be cool to see them.
But I think it's going to be interesting because I think one thing that I think is ambitious for Beast Morphers is that they're doing that. They're attempting to do that big Dino crossover. With that being said, it's one thing to attempt to do that, but it's another thing to stick that landing. Because I feel like a lot of people have high expectations, mainly because, see, I think that Ninja Steel had one advantage going in for the big team up that they had, was it was a completely original story. The only disadvantage they had was it wasn't Lord Drakkon, it was Lord Draven. That was the biggest disadvantage they had. I think that when you look at Beast Morphers, everybody already knows that this is going to be a big Dino team up, so there's a lot of hefty expectations on the show. Personally, I don't know, but me personally, I honestly don't think I would have done the team up the way that they're doing it. I don't think I would have. I think I would have just done something completely original for the American audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We'll see how it goes, I guess. Hopefully.
Corey, what about you? What do you think? This is your favorite Ranger coming back of all time. Your favorite season of all time, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh my
this guy.
gosh.
You like this guy? What do you want to see than Jason?
I like them better in gold.
I do. I like gold.
Yeah.
Right, what do you want to see than Jason, Corey?
What?
I thought Rocky was his favorite Red Ranger.
No.
Is Rocky your favorite Red Ranger?
No, he's not.
You guys are gonna make him just like go crazy and knock over his camera, man. Don't do that.
He's a cool ninja, but anyway, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion about this crossover. I have a feeling though that they may drop a teaser for the next season in this crossover with all the dinosaurs being around.
Ryu Soldier comes in at the very end, like the Red Ryu.
Not necessarily like that, but you may see a character or maybe the USO device thingy. And be, oh, what's that? I don't know. I gotta go check it out. I gotta go to this dinosaur city next door and handle some business.
Jezzer, honestly, you're joking about the Ryu Soldier appearance in Beast Morphers, but I don't actually. Honest to God, I don't think it's that far off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm joking. It's also a prediction.
Because I do honestly think that if you have just the Ryu Soldier suit actors just in a small scene, it's not so far off that they can be in Beast Morphers. And I think that brings us immediately back to the days which I loved back when in the Saban era, and even in the Disney era, where we got annual crossovers, which I thought was pretty cool.
Maybe, because with the footage from Ryusoulger, there's the first like an older Red Ranger. Maybe Jason becomes that first Ryusoulger Ranger, and then he hands it off to whoever the new cast member is. That'd be dope. That'd be a good way.
That'd be neat.
Yeah,
I think that'd be smart.
But
let me ask you guys.
I think that'd be a smart way of doing that. Yeah.
Do you think? Because from what I hear about this big crossover, there's going to be some reference about Jason being the Gold Ranger. But do you think there's going to be any reference about Jason being the Omega Ranger?
No.
And how this all fits in continuity, because the Omega Rangers were obviously a thing. But then when you see Jason come back as the Gold Ranger, like, he talks about, he's telling Tommy, like, the peace conference went great, blah, blah, blah. But if comics are continuity, then wouldn't Tommy know that, like, hey, motherfucker, you weren't at a peace conference. You were one of the guys.
Well, maybe they're going to do that Men in Black thing where they erase your memory, or how they did at the end of Shattered Grid where everything didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm like, you have to remember, with Shattered Grid... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Who's talking?
But with them trying to fit the comics into the TV show, they shouldn't do that because there are all these bits and pieces that they overlook. Because if you're not constantly watching the TV show all the time, because I mean they just fought together a few months ago. Now he's back as the Gold Ranger and like he never seen him. You know what I mean? So
look, they explained at the end of Shattered Grid, and with that whole other team that was kind of like Star Trek for a moment, that you're trying to essentially put the pieces of the mirror back together. Unfortunately, there's no way to do it perfectly. There will be pieces that are broken, missing, etc., etc. Timelines, all this stuff. They explained it then. So the thing is, it's like some things won't match up. And that's just going to have to be that way because we can't put reality the exact same way it was. Pieces are broken, pieces are smaller, pieces are chipped, pieces are shattered. So
that's
we can't put it back the same way.
Of messing up.
What?
Look, unfortunately, it was like, look, they knew what they were doing when they did it this way. So this way, if other things would happen, if crossovers like this would show up, they were like, we have an answer for it, which is you can't put a broken mirror back together. It won't be the same. And it was like, you got a point. They were like, yes, we do.
But wait, what if I'm not mistaken though? The Omega Ranger stuff is taking place after Shattered Grid, right?
Yeah. Shattered Grid never happened, but it's taking place after technically.
Exactly.
So what? So are we going to use that same excuse of like, oh, the grid shattered everything? Let's just.
The grid is the past, present, and future, so I guess it can shatter the future as well. It wasn't put together right.
Yeah, because hey, that's an answer, and we're going to use it as a plot device. Like, after that, they were just like, all right, it's very simple. It's our Deus Ex Machina. Anytime you have a question and you're like, this doesn't make sense, they're like, Shattered Grid. You're like, okay, I guess. I don't know how that's an answer. And they're going to keep running with it. That's going to be their answer forever.
You know what? It feels like the DCEU version of like Flashpoint that's about to happen.
I was going to say Flashpoint, yeah.
Flashpoint.
Anytime we have a problem, let's kill Flash.
Well, I mean, they just might because Ezra Miller probably is not going to be Flash very much longer. But
hey, no, don't make jokes about stuff like that, buddy.
I'm not making jokes. I'm dead serious.
I'm talking to Corey. Don't do that. Jezzer and I had a problem concerning making any jokes about anything that fits.
Oh, I was like, what is he talking about?
No,
oh man.
My whole thing is I feel that like with what they're trying to accomplish, I mean, I just don't like the easy way outs of like say anybody Justin, are you reading the current X-Men comics?
I'm behind on a lot of comics, so just go ahead and tell me. What's up?
So the way that they're doing it is kind of like Moira McTaggart is living. Any spoiler alerts, by the way, if people aren't caught up. There's Jonathan Hickman run as Moira McTaggart is living like she's a mutant, nobody knows it, but her mutant ability is to come back and relive the same life. Mm-hmm. So she's trying to figure out which life is best in order that mutants get their comeuppance. And the way that it's working is like, did everything happen in X-Men continuity already? Or are we just resetting it as a Moira McTaggart timeline for what the story we're being told now? That's like, I don't like that easy out of like, okay, we're gonna forget about the past. I think it's more of a challenge when you have to kind of work in the parameters, being like, all right, let's make this work. Let's make that. I feel like that's the really
the thing is with comic books is that they don't have endings.
Right.
Well, you get canceled, you do.
That's true. That's fair. That's fair.
But that's the thing with American comic books is that they just go on forever, and then other people come in and want to write a story that necessarily doesn't have anything to do with the past, you know. And that's what I think is the problem with comic books, and mostly with how DC Comics does things. They always hitting this reset button. If you're gonna hit the reset button, then reset it. Don't reset halfway and then start over. You know, if you're gonna start over, then fucking start over. You know?
Yeah,
sure. That's true.
Just start over.
Marvel's done it so far too. I mean, we had Rebirth. We had that whole thing where Return or whatever it was for Marvel, where Reborn, where now we're existing inside, which everyone kind of forgets. We're still kind of existing inside of a reality that Reed Richards' son made, and it's like, okay, and then him and Galactus are like the same person, and it's like there's all this stuff going on that we still are like, oh yeah, that did happen, and now we're gonna reset again inside of that and reset again. Yeah, you're right. If we do a reset, we reset completely. But if you do that, what happens to all those fan favorite stories? All those things that people are like, this is important. Do they just exist in your memory, but they don't exist in canon?
I mean, they create a multiverse just for the sake of it. I'm like, why? If you're going to create a multiverse, if let's say 1960s X-Men, there's a beginning and an end. Guess what? That's a multiverse now. You don't have to create a multiverse to write a bullshit story. Like you write the start and end it, and then guess what? That goes into the multiverse. If you want to go back to that world, you can. Like, because basically, with the Watchmen storyline, they did it with DC. Like, Post Crisis is now part of the multiverse. So I'm like, I thought that was rewritten with the New 52. So now it's its own multiverse. So now you can go back and write stories in Post Crisis before New 52 if you wanted to. But I mean, but then they're trying to make Rebirth what Post Crisis was. If you would have just beginning, people would be in a predicament.
This is the okay. Here's the thing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. At the end of the day, none of that matters.
It's okay.
None of that matters. It's just like
deal with the story that's happening right now.
Yeah, deal with the story that's happening right now. Don't worry about continuity. I think that's one of the things that I've grown out of is just worrying. Well, how does this fit in the continuity? I'm like, don't worry about it. Do you like the story now? Cool. Okay, we move on.
You're gonna be Charlie Day with like red strings of yarn going here, there, all around. You're like, it's all about the cat mittens, and you're like, what's going on?
So it's like, I don't know, like for me, like whatever they end up doing with Power Rangers, and that's the thing. Like for me with the Power Rangers comic book, one of the things I was kind of cool with it is like I was able to roll with these sort of more or less tangentially happened between a version of what happened in the show, without it being so worried about like it's set now. Like for me, I just went, okay, so more or less a version of what happened in the show happened, except they have smartphones. Okay, that's fine. Like I didn't overthink that for me. So I didn't really put too much thought into that. And for me, I guess this was their way of just jumping straight to the story as opposed to like doing a new version of the origin, doing a new version of how they met, doing a new version of how Tommy got there, doing a new version of the Green Ranger saga, because I think they also know that fans were going to be a little impatient waiting through that all over again. So they just wanted to jump to quote like the term, they wanted to jump to the fireworks factory and just already get to all the Green Ranger, Tommy, and etc. And that's why Go-Go was created, was to do stories pre-Tommy for a chunk until, eventually they changed it up. They had to change up and Tommy came in again. So, So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna end up doing with all this stuff. But right now it's like, it's just fun to kind of just let them do their own, do a little bit of like, it's split the middle for me. It's like it's kind of doing their own thing, but then also kind of like having fun with what was already established. Like remember the Power Ranger Pink Ranger series?
Yeah.
And that sort of takes place technically after Kim's final episode. And so the events of that comic reference events that happened in Kimberly's last episode, but also sort of takes place in the continuity of the comic. Sort of. Now I don't know how much of that Pink Ranger counts, but at the same time, I don't really care because I actually really like that miniseries. And so I just like enjoyed that miniseries. Like, hey, it's a really cool, Kimberly is the lead story. Which I think they should do more of. I was waiting for like Power Ranger Blue, Power Ranger Black, Power Ranger.
Yeah. I'm hoping that pink, the pink story. I hope that is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Lightning Collection box with all 5 of those.
Oh, that'd be
Oh God!
Because they already have the Kimberly head, they already have the the Zach head, and they already have.
Yeah.
All you need is Surge and Brit.
Yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I'm still waiting on a Bulk and Skull figure, but that's me. Don't shake your head, Corey. Don't shake your head, Corey. No, they deserve it. They deserve
They
it.
deserve it. Yeah, they deserve it. They've been there. They were there forever, man. They deserve it. They put it.
They deserve a fucking action figure.
What about their proper Alpha 5 action figure?
Give them that. Oh,
yeah, they need an Alpha 5 action figure.
Alpha 5 too.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha 5 needs an action
And his Zordon action figure.
Yeah, well, I want an Alpha 5. I want an Alpha 5 set. I told you. I just want like, I want Alpha, and then after that, like a whole kind of set for Zordon. Just like some of the command center, and then the tube, and there goes Zordon. They should do it.
Should do it. It'd be dope.
Like a play set, that would be great. I do honestly, no joke. I do hope they make the Ninja Turtle Lightning Collection action figures.
Well, you know what they said? They had the actual helmets that they were going to display at WonderCon, but they couldn't. Boom Studios.
Oh yeah, the same guy who did the
There's not even.
They actually made the Ninja Turtle ones?
Yeah, the helmets. Yeah.
Bummer.
And the
Just like
Shredder helmet.
Just like the Omega Ranger helmet, right?
Yeah.
Next time, babies.
I would love that.
Maybe more release.
Maybe. Well, it depends. It depends if MorphCon even happens. We don't know.
This year, 2020 is canceled.
It is. It started off. It started off really bad. 2020 started off really bad. I'm just erasing it from my memory. It's over.
Yeah,
we're gonna play DC. At the end of the year, we're gonna restart 2020.
Yeah.
Dang it.
We're gonna reboot 2020.
Yeah.
God, 2020 sucks. Like, it is the worst. The worst.
I thought the worst thing that was gonna happen to me this year was dealing with my car shit.
Well, now,
I'll take it.
Now you don't have to, right? You don't have to worry about.
I haven't been driving shit.
Right? Yeah. It's a blessing in disguise.
I haven't drove anywhere.
From everything that I'm hearing, is 2020 is going to get a reboot pretty soon. So.
Oh, cool. Was that you with the studio with 2020?
2020 reboot. That was me. I was just on the phone with God, and he said 2020 is going to be able to get a reboot.
Awesome. Cool.
Easter is canceled. Will not be happening tomorrow. And 2020 is officially getting a reboot. So right now we're living in a different time period. Tomorrow the world ends. We get a reboot of 2020. Here we go.
Okay, there we go. And we won't remember any of this stuff. We won't talk about that. We're gonna, just like what happened at the end of Shattered Grid.
The 2020 we're living in right now is like if it was written by like Rob Liefeld. But like now, next we're going into the better version of that. So
God. It's the worst.
20 is so weird. Literally, I just want to have something where it just says directed by David Lynch. Just on my windows, every time I look out my window, it just says directed by David Lynch. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Would he be the director of this? He'd be the director of all this?
I feel this is Michael Bay.
This is Michael Bay.
I feel this is Michael Bay.
There's no helicopters rising from the ocean.
I've been hearing helicopters every freaking night, sir.
From the ocean.
I feel like this is Zack Snyder. Like this is
this is Zack Snyder. This is Zack Snyder. Oh, y'all wanted that fucking Snyder cut. Well, here we got it now.
Now we're living it. Too many plots. Too many on the nose characterization.
Yeah, I mean, you killed off Jimmy Olsen at the beginning. You know,
everything feels like
it's like you killed off Kobe Bryant at the beginning. It's like, why are you killing off Kobe? What the fuck is this shit?
Slow down on the plot. Slow
That is
down on the
so
plot.
cool. Oh my god, he is like oh god, it's happening.
Yeah, we're living, and pretty soon. I mean, I don't know if our next 2020 is going to be any better because it's going to be the Joss Whedon cut, right? Like, and it's going to be like I'm just trying to fix what already happened.
What the other guy fucked up on, but we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, listen, we all got bad digitally erased mustaches. If that's the worst thing, is just bad digitally erased mustaches. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
It's,
I'll
it's
take that. I'll take this. You know,
It's
we've strayed so far from Power Rangers. It's
yeah, no. I think that's what makes it great. That's what makes you connect everything back to Power Rangers, and that's what makes it great. It's the only positive thing that's going on right now is Power Ranger projects coming up and shows
There's
still
quite a
going.
few of them I actually got to talk with too about that. That's actually a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, Toku, you're involved with a lot of projects. You got a lot of projects going on.
yeah, man.
Oh, kinda. Until the virus fucked up everything.
Yeah, that's fine.
And my own project going on, and then I recently did VFX for one of the Collins, the first ninja.
Oh, nice. Right on.
Yeah.
The most recent episode?
Yeah, I did 2 shots on his newest episode he released.
Cool.
See?
Toku, could you go into a little bit concerning your project, the adventures of what is it, Andrew? What?
Andrew Harford.
So what's it about? Can you give us a little bit?
Oh, it's about Overdrive.
Uh-huh.
Damn you, fucking Toku. Damn you. Fuck you, Toku.
Yeah, it's basically just imagine like a web series. Each episode's gonna be like 3 to 5 minutes, and it's literally just every episode is trying to find a jewel of the crown. I wouldn't say the crown's name, but it has an awful coincidence with the
Wait,
virus.
Daniel said it before. It was like, what did you say it was, Daniel?
I forgot.
It's the Corona Aurora.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, what?
Oh man,
The Corona Aurora.
guys, I have to sign off. I will catch you guys next time.
We'll probably. This is good. Good point too.
Yeah. All right, guys. Bye, Joe.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry for the little mishap, but I think this is going to be better because
do it for the eye. Do it for the eye, people.
We're on.
Or he's doing some Sailor Moon stuff.
Yeah.
My new name is
Joe left.
Moon. So.
Right night, guys.